What's the deal, Lil 100 in this bitch, man? Big Op, and I'm 3 times iller, man. Y'all locked in, man. What's the dealer? Keep it realer.
I'm 3 times iller, three times iller, 3 times iller.
Explain now if you want to share with us, share if you like to share, tell them what ended up happening and how that affected you with BL.
Man, that was like, yeah, that right there, still to this day is like, that was one person that, like, I felt like I needed, in a sense of just to live. Like, you got me like finna like tear up right now, because that was like a person that I feel like I needed in a sense to live. Like, that was my, like, I don't know. Like, he was like a person just, I don't know, he just always made sure I was straight. Like, no matter what was going on, he made sure I was straight. But at the same time, he never let me do no bullshit though. You feel me? So it's like, I don't know. It was like, that was one person that I needed to be in my life. And he took it from me when I was, just transforming into a grown man, like, you feel me? And I was with that dude every day. Anybody could tell you I was with that dude every day from when I was 11, 10 years old to the day he died. So it's like, that fucked the nigga up, because he was like a father to me, but at the same time, he was just a few years older than me, you feel me? Like a big brother, but like a father to a nigga.
So how old was he when he passed and how old were you?
He was 25, I was 18. He was 25, I was 18. That's like, I was just talking about this yesterday with the little homie 2 times. Like I was in jail when he got killed, but I talked to him, like, this is no exaggeration, everybody know this, probably like 40, 50 minutes before he got killed. And the conversation was just kind of, it was just a strange conversation. But I didn't realize it was a strange conversation till after the fact. I called back and they told me that he was, he told me he was murdered or whatever. So I was in jail and I was calling him, talking whatever, and they were saying they was going to the party, because at the time we was, we was fucking with the East Coast Crips at the time. So they was going to a party, but only thing that fucked me up was it was a party that he was going to, and they told me to stop going to the parties. He did personally, because I don't want to get into the logistics of why, but it was some shit that took place that I had done prior to the party, and we had got into it at one of the parties before that because of some shit that I had done. It's gonna be some fighting and shit. But the homies just told me, like, man, you shouldn't go back to the parties or whatever. So I'm telling him, like, why you going to the party? You told me don't even go to that shit. That shit bullshit. He like, oh, the homies been going and shit, whoopty whoop whoop. I'ma just go tonight, whatever. We've been going for the last little 2 weeks or something. He like, call me back in an hour when I get there, whoopty whoop, and then I'ma talk to you while you're in the party, let you talk to the homies and shit, whoop whoop whoop. So I'm like, cool. I was in jail. I waited an hour, called back. When I called back, their phone picked up. They was crying and shit. It was just, it was pandemonium. So, but what I was getting at was, the last thing of our conversation was, when we was talking, that was funny to me was like, we was laughing our normal shit, but he told me he loved me, which we always say to each other. I told him I love you. He laughed. Then he said it again. He said, I love you. And this is the honest to God truth. And I asked him what's wrong. Like, I asked him what's wrong. This honest to God truth. God can strike me down. After that second, I love you. I'm shaking right now because I asked him what's wrong, because like, we had plenty of conversations and that just was funny to her. Like, I love you. Nigga, I love you too. Then he like, nigga, I really love you. Like, nigga, then I'm like, damn, BZ, like, what's wrong? He like, nothing. Like, I love you. I didn't even get to say I love you back the second time, because he like, nothing, nigga, I just love you. Then I'm like, yeah, I love you too. I'm gonna call you back over an hour. And then call back and that happened. So that shit got me shaking right now just thinking back about it, because I ain't really even talk about that like that so long. But when I called back and thought about that later, that was like, damn, that was like, when you got close friends and shit, people that love you and shit, before they finna go, they give you signs they finna go, but you never know that's what's finna go on. You ain't never thinking that. But I guess that was just like, our last, and it was genuine, you feel me? And I can honestly, God, to say that, like, he looked at me as a true friend, or like, a person that he loved, to even give me that chance to speak to him, and and give me them last moments before when he was leaving. That's how I feel about that.
Now, you said so you were in jail when he passed. You did a jail bid. Was that your first jail bid?
At the time when he passed, I went to jail. Me and Lil Deuces went to jail for some robbery shit. I was in jail fighting that shit for about 4 months. I beat that case, so I went to jail in November 30th. He got killed January 27th. I got out April 8th. So I was only in jail for like 4 months in the midst of him getting killed, but I was only in jail a month, you know, and I got out. But that's when everything really dramatically changed for a nigga coming back into the streets, and he wasn't here though, because it was like it was a different ball game, like for real, for real, for real. Like, you know, it was for real a different ball game.
How did it look on the streets now? Because I'm pretty sure people were in like a somber state too. So, did you come home in time to make it to his funeral?
No, I didn't get home. I didn't get home in time to make it to his funeral. His funeral was like February something. I didn't get out to April, but his brother got killed probably like right when I was finna come home, like March, probably like March something, and that's when the nigga beat the case. But his funeral was probably like 3 days before I got out, so I didn't even get to make that funeral. So coming back home to that, you know, it was a different feeling in the sense of like the wind didn't blow the same no more, the trees didn't look the same no more, like the motherfucking the wind didn't feel the same no more, the skies didn't look the same no more, the people didn't even look the same. It was like everybody was zombies around that joint. So it kind of like it put a nigga into something, because I had just got out of jail with it facing 12 years. They offered me 12 years. I was finna go to trial. And it was one of them situations too, when you be in jail, you know, everybody turned to the Bible and shit. It was one of them situations to where a nigga turned to the Bible, prayed for that. I prayed for that to get out of that 12-year situation. And I came right back out on bullshit. But in the sense of like, I was put in a fucked up situation, because like my mentor, my idol, he was gone. Like, so I really didn't give a fuck about too much. And then his brother got killed. I used to live in the house with these people. I used to live with them, like, you feel me? I used to like literally live in the house with these people at a time too. When like, I ain't even mentioned when I was living over there by the niggas, is why I left, because some shit happened to them. They burnt my house up. So at a time, I ain't gonna say a nigga was homeless. You know, motherfuckers say, I was homeless. Nigga ain't wasn't homeless, because I know everybody gonna be out here homeless when they be saying that shit. Nigga got family, so nigga they have a home at the time with his mama and shit, but a nigga was living place to place and shit. And I used to live with Auntie Kathy and BL and them down there. I used to sleep with them, live down there in that house for months. So go to school from right there at that house, because our house got burnt up. So
when you say your house got burnt up, it was a deliberate act, you think, that somebody
yeah, it was a deliberate act due to some incidents that had transpired. Some petty shit had transpired. That's when shit started turning sour with both sides. Motherfuckers really don't even be knowing the history. If motherfuckers really want to know the history, like that shit dates all the way back to me. I'm the reason. Like, I ain't gonna say I'm the reason, 'cause I don't even want to put it like that.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna say I'm the reason, but like all this shit steamed behind me living at that house, should I say.
Yeah, so you saying it was
Still to
it
this
was
day.
definitely
Still to this day, everything that's going on stemmed from me, from that house getting burnt up. I'm gonna just put it like that.
Now, with you saying that, so is there a lot of dudes that still carrying on, and is it a lot of bickering back and forth with dudes that don't even understand what the bickering back and forth or the beefing back and forth really stem
You know,
from?
it's the gang life though. It's the gang culture. Don't know hoods, know who they beefing with and why. I mean, they don't know why they beefing with no hoods. The youngsters and shit, people really don't know. So I could really say, like, growing up at a time when shit was all lovely in LA, or I could say in my hood when we wasn't really beefing with nobody. Like, you feel me? Growing up when I was 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, shit started going bad when we was 14 years old. So all those years we was at one with the niggas, kind of still fucking with the PJs. We used to play football games and shit with
Yeah.
these people's different hoods and shit. So I can honestly say at that time growing up, our hood wasn't at war. Like, you know, it was other little shit going on, but it wasn't no hood we was at war with, because in the sense of Watts is a small place. So everything in Watts at that time, I don't want to say they won't beef with us, because we was cool with the niggas and not them, but everything else, it was just normal shit. We was cool with the niggas and the PJs, feel me?
Yeah. So do you ever think that? Because right now, are the cats kind of at each other from those little small
Yeah,
block
but
radius.
yeah, shit going on. Shit ain't gonna never stop. That shit ain't even gonna never stop now because it's too much blood been spilled. Too many people been hurt. You got kids and shit growing up from 15 years ago and shit. Uncles and fathers and shit been murdered and shit. So they growing up without their father and shit and knowing that these people's over here and did something to their father. You feel me? They want some type of revenge rather than even if the people saying that's not even what we doing right now. But you can't tell this man how to grieve, and this man grew up without his father and knowing that some people did shit to his father. You feel me? So that should be, that's what I feel like with most of the kids that's growing up right now. Because most of the older people that's in our generation and shit, you feel me? I could say some people, you feel me, ain't even really depicted on that. Like, like really, niggas ain't really depicted on that, but it's levels to this shit again as I go back. It's like, it's another generation. It ain't even my generation now. My generation clocked out. It's a whole nother generation of young niggas. It's a whole nother generation of politics and how this world moving right now as far as social media and how these kids take shit on social media and how they do what they do. You feel me? The kids rather learn shit from social media. They don't listen to their older homies and none of that shit no more. You feel me? So it just be fucked up. You feel me?